Welcome to episode 49 of the Arctic Crafts podcast. My name is Bente and I'm coming to you from Vesterålen, northern Norway, where I live with my husband and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Arctic Crafts, on Facebook and Etsy as Arctic Crafts by Bente, and on Ravelry as Arctic Crafts 65. I also have a group on Ravelry where you can participate in make-alongs and possibly enter for a chance to win a giveaway. I have a Ko-fi page where you can buy me a cup of coffee, and that really helps me out when it comes to shipping expenses for prices and hopefully being able to buy some new equipment for the podcast. As you can see, I've been moving around a bit because this pesky winter sun keeps disturbing me. I might have to move even further around, depending, because I always film my podcasts early in the day, and that's when the sun comes in through the windows facing me. So I might have to find a new location soon, so I don't get the sun directly in my face. And because the sun is disturbing me, you might understand that today is a sunny day. We have blue sky and sun, and winter break starts tomorrow. So that's really good timing. My youngest son comes here. We're going to pick him up at the bus station late tonight, and on Monday we're going to Tromsø to visit my oldest son. Tromsø is having an outbreak at the moment, so we're bringing our masks, and fortunately we're staying in an apartment hotel, so we won't have any contact with any other guests. The people in the reception desk we only have to be in contact with when we check in and when we check out. But as I said, we're bringing our masks, and we're not going to socialize with anybody else than my oldest son, and he's being careful all the time, so no risk as such to get infected while we're in Tromsø. They recommend that if you travel domestically, that you don't use public transport if you can avoid it, and we're driving there in our own car, so not an issue for us. Elephant in the room, I finally got my hair cut, and the poor hairdresser didn't know what hit her, because she was, hairdressers are really good at small talk, and I haven't had any people to talk to. One thing is I'm an introvert and I work from home, so normally I don't talk to a lot of people, but I've been even more isolated the last year because of the pandemic. So when she struck up a conversation, she didn't know what hit her, because I was talking almost non-stop. So, poor soul. She knows the next time I come there to get my hair cut, don't strike up a conversation. Unless you want to be bombarded. Maybe I should start talking about the knitting, because this is a knitting podcast. It's not a hairdresser podcast or a weather podcast or a pandemic podcast. So we'll talk a bit about the knitting, and I have to reach for my show notes. Just a minute. I haven't been planning this carefully today. I'm not structured at all because I have so much to do today. But podcast day is podcast day, and this is a working weekend for me because it's podcast day today. Tomorrow I have to take pictures of all the yarn going into the shop on Sunday, and on Sunday I'm dyeing up the mystery skeins for March. I'm starting those a day early because I suddenly realized that February is a really short month, and I want to get the mystery skeins in the mail the first week of March. So I'm dyeing them up on Sunday. I'm wearing knitting, even though it's kind of hot, so this might be one of the last podcasts this year that I'm wearing knitting. We'll see. I have some knitted t-shirts as well, but wool is wool. This is the So Faded by Andrea Mowry, and I've knit this in yarn I bought at Spring Into Wool in 2019. That was my first, maybe last, fiber festival. Probably not my last, but fiber festivals, who knows when they come back. The yarn is from Dina's Home of Crafts, and this is the second So Faded I knit. I knit one in 5 different colors before we left for England in 2019, and I wore the first So Faded I knit at the festival. I've worn that So Faded on the podcast a couple of times, I think, but I can put in a picture so you see what it looked like. Has longer sleeves and is knit with a plusher fingering, so it's a bit warmer than this one. This is more comfortable to wear when it's hotter like today. And finished objects. And my first finished object isn't actually knitting. I bought the Knitter's Loom from Ashford, and I finished my first scarf. And it's a bit short, and I haven't woven in the ends. I have soaked it though to soften it up. The warp is a skein of undyed silver sparkle. Maybe you can see the sparkle. And the weft is hedgehog fibers, deep end. I had one full skein left and a bit after I knit my boxy. And I decided if I used silver sparkle warp, it would look really nice. Problem is, I think I used the wrong numbers when I calculated the yardage needed for a scarf, because this is I finished this last night and I realized I have quite a bit of warp left. So it's a bit short. It goes once around my neck, but you can see the ends are quite short. But I'm going to use it anyway, because I can tuck the ends underneath, or I can just hang it like a more or less of a decoration on top of my coat. Because it is sparkly and has really long tassels, it looks good. So now I know the next time I'm going to make a scarf, I either have to use the, is it called a heddle? The thing you pull the string through when you warp the loom. As you can tell, I'm really a newbie when it comes to weaving. So either I have to use the bigger heddle that has I think it's called picks per inch. It's larger, so it's airier than this, but I like this fabric, so I think I'm going to do it the same way on my next scarf, but I'm going to use more than one skein for the weft. I wanted to try to, I saw a tutorial by Grace of Babel's Yarn, how to weave a houndstooth scarf, and it looked really good and it was really easy. So, and I have 2 different colors of undyed Polldale, and Polldale is one of my favorite bases because it's soft and sturdy. And seeing as I have natural colored Polldale, off-white, and grey Polldale, I was thinking maybe I should try weaving a houndstooth scarf. But Then again, I'm not sure if I should start with a scarf because I want to try to weave with cotton. And my next door neighbor used to run a yarn store, and she has quite a bit of cotton in stash. Among other things, she has warping cotton. So she has loads of that, and she has loads of cotton in other colors. So I'm thinking maybe I should try weaving some dish towels. So that might be my next project. And I'm going to make a longer warp and just make loads of dish towels. And I'm going to look at tutorials for how you hem woven fabric, because I don't want the tassels, of course. So I'm going to put spacing in between, and then I think if you just serge the edges and then hem them up. But my neighbor also is a really good sewer, so she might be able to help me hemming the dish towels. I have a sewing machine. Sewing machine? As I tell you, I can't speak today. And I went to school to learn how to make clothing. I went to more or less a community college to learn drawing and sewing and stuff like that. And there I go with my stuff like that again. Today's podcast is going to be kind of babbly, I think. And I've only shown you one FO. So maybe I should continue with my next FO. And this is, I haven't got any big FOs this time. It's socks, and I have 2 hats finished. And one pair of socks that actually isn't here anymore, because as soon as I wove in the ends and blocked them, I shipped them off to my niece. I don't know if you remember, but I showed you some 50-gram skeins of self-striping that Sue in Canada sent me, and I sent my niece a picture of those and told her to pick her favorite and I would knit her socks. And I'm putting in the picture. I knit those in Comfy Cozy Knits, and the colorway is It's a Celebration, and those are already on her feet. She sent me a picture last night. Last time I showed you I got a belated Christmas present from Canada, from Liz, the other lady in Distant Stitches, and she sent me, among other things, a skein of yarn, Ancient Arts, in the colorway I met Stephen West, and I liked it. And I've already used up the skein. I knit this hat. It's the Sockhead hat by Kelly McClure, and I'm not wearing it because I have loads of stuff in my hair, and you can see I got my hair cut. It looks nice, so I'm not going to try any hats on. So this is the Sockhead hat by Kelly McClure. I prefer beanies, so when I knit this hat, I only knit it big enough to be a beanie. I don't like slouchy hats. So this is the Sockhead hat, and because I didn't knit this slouchy, I had yarn to spare, so I knit a pair. This is one of my favorite patterns for fingerless mittens, because they sit really snugly on your hands because of this construction. So I also got a pair of mitts out of the yarn. Before I knit these, I split the leftover yarn into 2, and I knit as far as I got with the yarn I had left. So that's it. I didn't get it precisely into 2, so I have a tiny little ball left, and that's going into my granny stripe blanket. So now I have a set. I might use this when we go to Tromsø, because I always like it when I have a set with the same yarn for the hat and the mitts. So that's a finished object. And it's been cold lately, and I wear my fingering weight wool socks more or less all year. The only difference is in summer I wear them as shorties. But I wanted a pair of socks that were thicker, that I can use instead of slippers, because I don't wear slippers, but I wear wool socks in the house all the time. And I had a couple of balls of, just going to check, Corriedele hot socks, one of my favorite sock yarns. They have different weights, and this is one of their DKs, and it's called Arco. And I knit myself a pair of socks. As you can see, these don't match, but I don't care really, because there's a really long color repeat on these, so if I wanted to match them, I wouldn't have almost any yarn left, only tiny little balls. So these are the socks. I haven't blocked these, I just put them on sock blockers to show them to you, because these are for me, and as soon as I put them on they fit my feet anyway, so why block them? I only block socks I'm using for samples or giving away as gifts. I block them if I'm going to show them. Socks that are going straight on my feet I never block. And excuse me for any noises, because I have my microphone on the table and I suddenly realized I threw something down next to the microphone, so hopefully it doesn't ruin the entire podcast. And because over to the socks, because they're 6-ply, and I think they even have 8-ply sock yarn, but that's 6-ply or DK. And because the same thing, I have 150 gram skeins of DK, because if you want to knit a pair of socks you need more than 100 grams, at least if you want to knit a pair of socks for a man. But I had loads of yarn left after I finished. I think I even have more left after I knit this hat. I know it looks really tiny, but it actually fits me. No pattern for this one. I just cast on, I think I cast on 92 stitches. 1 by 1 rib, and when I thought the rib was long enough, I just started with the stockinette, and I tried it on to figure out when it passed my ears and I had this big an opening left, I started the decreases. And it's just a normal, when you knit. I think I started with increments of 10, so I knit 8 stitches and I knit stitch 9 and 10 together. And I started 8 stitches, 2 together, all the way around. Then I knit 1 round, and then on the next round I knit 7, 2 together, all the way around. And I did that until I only had a few stitches left on the needles. And I need to tighten up the top of the hat, I think. But again, this isn't going to be gifted, I think. If I decide to gift it, I will tighten it up at the top. But because it's only for me, I'm not sure I'm going to bother. Because the thing is, you need your ears to be warm, not the top of your head. So if it's a bit messy up here, who cares? So I'm thinking this might be my snow shoveling hat. Because I have hats that look much better than this. But I wanted to use up most of the yarn. And then I went and did it again. Threw something down next to the microphone. I'm going to stop doing that. Honest. And that was my FOs this time. I haven't got a lot of whips because I've finished most of the stuff I was knitting on. Started it and finished it. I have 2 sweaters on the needles. I have a love note that I'm knitting in my own single ply in Plum Jam that I haven't touched, so no reason showing you that. And I have the May It Be by Anna Maria Ötvers that I'm also knitting on. And I haven't touched that one either, so again, no point in showing you that. I'm going to start knitting on both of those sweaters because I have a sweater that I'm planning to knit. And I'm thinking I don't need a third sweater on the needles. So maybe I should finish one of those before I cast on. But I even dyed the yarn for the sweater that I really want to cast on. So I might cast that on. And if I cast it on, I'll probably finish it as well. And still not touch the Love Note and the May It Be sweater. The Love Note is, I know why I lost momentum on that one, because I was thinking sample when I cast that on, because my single ply was a really slow seller, and I wanted to make a sample sweater to show people that you can knit sweaters in single ply, no problem. It doesn't have to be shawls, because single ply is mainly used for shawls or held together with mohair in sweaters. And then I decided to discontinue my single ply. And that's Zebra Snip, in case you were wondering. So I decided to discontinue my single ply, so I don't need the sample. So when the sweater is finished, it's just for me. It would still be a color sample of the Plum Jam. But in my experience, colors look a bit different on different bases. So it might not work as a sample for other bases. So I'm going to put that one down there and make a mess in the background. As if the background wasn't messy enough. This is the place where all the knickknacks end up, where I don't know where to put them. So that's why that table looks like it does. That's my... And again, that's a Zebra Snip. He's having one of those days. Now he's trying to destroy the sofa. I was showing you my whips. The only whips I have been working on. This is a pair of socks that I've been working on for ages. This is the first sock. It's the Hermione's Everyday Sock. And I've forgotten the name of the designer, but I'm putting it up down here. Everybody's knit a pair of Hermione's Everyday Socks, more or less. This is the second sock. And I'm slowly moving along on this one. I don't know why it's going so slowly, but I keep pulling up other things instead of knitting on these. This Gummy Bear Progress Keeper is one of mine. I make a lot of progress keepers, and if you've seen my posts on Instagram where I'm sitting making progress keepers, I don't make progress keepers for sale. I make them as because I think it's fun, and I use them as I put them in giveaway prizes, make along prizes, and all bigger orders get a couple of progress keepers as an added bonus, sort of, because I had to do something with them. I don't want to sell my progress keepers because there's loads of people, talented people out there making really pretty progress keepers, and that's kind of what they do. And I'm in the yarn dyeing business, and I don't want to compete with people that have it as their main thing, and I just assemble stuff I get online, so it's not a lot of work, and I can't see a good reason for me to sell them. So so that Gummy Bear Progress Keeper, it might show up with I made several of those, and I've started sending them out to people ordering. I have this. I have a snowflake progress keeper that everybody gets. No matter how much yarn you order, you get that snowflake progress keeper. It's kind of my calling card. When I started the shop, I had a lot of stuff that I put with the orders and everything, and now that I'm selling more orders and I'm packing more orders at the same time, and I have loads of stuff that's going in with the yarn, I kind of regret doing that at the start, because I don't feel like I can stop doing it either, because it's kind of what I do. So it's starting to take quite some time getting the stuff that I'm putting in with it and everything. That is enough talk about progress keepers and calling cards. So I have one more whip to show you, and it's in my virtual Knit City bag that I got from Sue in Canada. It's outgrown the bag it used to be in, so I had to get a bigger bag. And this is a Stephen West shawl. It's called the Slipping Tiles. And as you can see, like a normal Stephen West shawl, it's going to be quite giant, because this is only the first section. And I'm getting near the end of this section. I'm about to do a I-cord bind off, and then when you're continuing with the shawl, you're picking up along this I-cord edge and knitting out this way all the way around. So I can't say I'm looking forward to picking up all those stitches all the way around. This is knit in my single ply in a raspberry color that started as a mistake. I was dyeing up Plum Jam and I grabbed the wrong red color to start. So I have 2 skeins, and I needed 2 skeins for this shawl. It's supposed to be 1 main color and 3 different contrast colors. I'm using the same contrast colors for the entire shawl. And the main color is left over from my pink fizz, and it's drops nord, or drops nord as you would say probably. It's really soft, and because the single ply is also soft, this is going to be a really cozy shawl. But because it's Stephen West, it's going to be more of a slanket, I guess, so it will probably end up on the couch as more or less a throw that I can put around my shoulders if I get cold. And so this is my biggest whip at the moment, because I'm not knitting on my sweaters. I need to cast on at least 1 pair of socks. Maybe I'm doing it today. I know I have a pair of Hermione socks on the needles, but we're going away on Monday. We're leaving for Tromsø, and that's a 5-hour drive. We're going to stay in a hotel, and I need some travel knitting. And I don't want to take a sweater project with me, because it's big, and I probably have to check the pattern. Maybe not on the love knot, because on the love knot I'm past the sleeves, so it's just knitting straight down the body. So that might work as hotel knitting, but not in the car. So I'm casting on a new pair of socks, self-striping, because that's the most fun, and knit a pair of stockinette socks while we're away. But that's my whips, and now we're getting ready for show and tell. I actually have some acquisitions this time. The first one is something I forgot that I bought, because it took so long to get to me that I forgot I bought it, and I was so surprised when it showed up in my postbox yesterday. It's a skein of Yarn Cafe Creations. And the reason why I bought this, because I really can't afford to buy yarn from the United States. Because I have to pay VAT on it, and the prices and the Norwegian krone has been low compared to the US dollar, but there's a good reason for me buying this. The first thing is, of course, that I really love the color. The second reason is she had a sale on, so it was cheaper, and this was retail therapy, because this was while I was stressing with my mother passing away and all the admin stuff, all the paperwork and everything. So I did it as retail therapy, and I forgot that I bought it because it took so long to get to me. I have more yarn coming to me that I bought around that time, but one of them's died to order, so that's taking some time, and one of them's a subscription that hubby paid for, so I'm going to get that yarn once a month. But what I've been doing, I have been saving my yarn money for the Tromsø trip, because one of my favorite yarn shops is in Tromsø, and I'm going there. And one of the things I'm going to get there, I'm going to get some bits and pieces for a giveaway. I'm not sure when I'm doing the giveaway, but I'm doing a giveaway either in episode 50 to celebrate, but I think I'm going to hold back until I reach 1,000 subscribers, and that might take a year. So no telling when that giveaway is going to be, but I'm going to get a few things together that I'm doing a giveaway for. But this is my Yarn Cafe Creations, and I also got some, and this I bought domestic. This is from a Norwegian online store, so I got this almost immediately, and it's so I'm not used to getting things I buy. When I buy yarn online, it's almost always from abroad, and it takes forever to get here. But this took 3 days. And it's more Grindel hot socks. I really love this. It's called, I'm not going to try to pronounce it. I'm just saying Malchesine. It's a German company, so... but anyway, this is a really subtle stripe. It's more like a fade. And I really love that. So I'm thinking not necessarily, because I love knitting patterned socks, especially rye-flower knits. And I'm in this, my friend Sue bought me a sock club from rye-flower knits. Every month of the year I get a new pattern based on dance movies. And we're getting closer to, getting really close to March 1st, so I'm getting a new sock pattern. And I know several people knit lacy socks and textured socks with self-striping yarn, but I prefer to use semi-solids or tonals. So I'm thinking these might work with rye-flower knits patterns. So that's why I bought these. Now I have yarn for both March and April, hopefully. Or I might get a pattern in that club that works with variegated or speckled yarn. So we'll see. I might use one of the patterns for a sample sock. So that's the stuff that I've got in the mail. I haven't. Next time I podcast, I'll probably have acquisitions from my trip to Tromsø. I'm not only buying stuff for you, trust me. I'm also buying stuff for me, and I'll show you that the next podcast. I'm also probably going to vlog while we're in Tromsø. Not recording for making anything to put on YouTube, perhaps, but I've started using Instagram TV for vlogs, so I might put up stuff on Instagram TV while we're in Tromsø, and maybe record something to put in my next podcast. We'll see. But and as you know, when I podcast, it's in a weekend where I have a shop update, and I always finish my podcast with showing you what's going into the shop on Sunday. So if you're not interested in seeing what I'm putting in the shop, thank you for coming. And something I always forget to say is, if you like this, please subscribe. And thank you to everybody who is subscribed and keeps coming back for more of this hot mess. I always forget saying that. I'm not a really good podcaster. I don't tell you to subscribe and like and press the notification bell and everything. I never remember to do that. Maybe that's why I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet. So I'm going to show you what's going into the shop on Sunday, and I'm going to take it in the order it's in my bag. So this might be a bit all over the place, but it's me, and you know that's me. So I have this new colorway. I was experimenting yesterday and I ended up with this. And I'm not sure you can tell with the light, but it's kind of a blurple. It's a blue with, you can't tell on camera. I can put in a picture in the corner of what it looks like. Or you can take my word for it. It's a blue with purple tinges. And I showed this to hubby because he's really good at naming colorways. And he just said midnight blue. And I love the name, midnight blue. So this is a new tonal, and it's called midnight blue. And I'm putting it in the shop on Corriedele and Marino worsted. I'm also, and this is a result of the midnight blue, because I could not get the color to exhaust in the worsted pan, so I threw in a mop-up skein. But it's a really beautiful color. It's a 50-gram skein, and it's a really beautiful color. So this is a mop-up skein. It's going into the shop as a one-of-a-kind, and because it's a really pretty light blue color, I would say 50 grams is enough for baby socks and a baby hat. And because it's my platinum sock, it's really soft. Not that my Polldale isn't soft, but I don't have any 50-gram skeins of Polldale. And 50-gram skeins are really useful for this. So that's also going into the shop. I'm showing you with the midnight blue because it's a result of the midnight blue. I also have another new colorway that I've dyed up on several bases, and one of them isn't here, I think. So I'll just show you what I have here, and I'm not sure why one of them is missing, but this is a new colorway. This is about right on camera, but blues and purples are notoriously difficult to get right on camera. This is Polldale, and this is platinum sock and a sock set, and I have a green mini with this. And the reason why the mini is green is because the name of this colorway is Strawberry Fields Forever, and I thought that this green would match really well. And the base I haven't got here to show you is my worsted. The first time I dyed up this colorway, I was experimenting with it. I dyed it up on worsted, and the worsted, there's not as much dark red on the worsted because it's the first. I tweaked it a bit before I dyed up the Polydale and the sock sets. So the worsted is more of a salmon pink, peachy. So maybe I should call it Strawberry Fields Forever Beta or something, or call this Strawberry Fields 2.0. But anyway, Strawberry Fields, and I have it on worsted as well. I just forgot to put it in my bag. And I have dyed up some Tidal Wave. I dyed up 2 batches of Tidal Wave. This is on my new sweater base. It's 100% really soft merino. This is to replace my natural boo, my merino bamboo, because that was also a slow seller, and I figured I'd just change it up for 100% merino. And I'm going to, because I'm going to buy all my yarn from one supplier. It's a smaller business, and they have this farm to skein program, so I want to support them as much as possible, and this is one of their bases, 100% merino, and it's the same fiber as in my worsted, and my worsted is really soft. So when he told me they were starting to produce fingering weight in the same fibers, I of course wanted it. So this is Tidal Wave on 100% merino fingering, and I dyed up some Aurora Borealis on Corriedele, and there you have the neon green. That's impossible to show on camera, but it's neon green. It's Northern Lights green. And I have some progress keepers with the Northern Lights on them, and when I put this in the shop, I'm going to put in an option where you can pay a little extra and get a matching progress keeper with this yarn, and that's on my Corriedele base. And I have dyed up 2 different colorways on my new grey Polydale, and I'm really satisfied with how this looks. I dyed up already some Resilience. What I'm doing now, at the beginning, I'm dyeing up colorways that I normally either dye them grey before I dye the colorway, or I use the other colors first and then I over dye with grey. So this is my Kaleidoscope colorway. This I normally over dye with grey when I'm finished with the other colors, and I think it looks beautiful on grey. So I don't think I'm going to dye it the old way anymore. I'm only going to dye it on grey Polydale. And this yarn is so soft, I don't think you understand. This is 85/15, so it's plumper and softer than my other Polydale, and that's soft. So this is even softer. And so this is Kaleidoscope on grey Polydale, and the other colorway I've been dyeing up on grey Polydale is this one. This is one of my older colorways that I really love. It's called Rainy Days and Mondays, and this is one of those that I normally over dye with grey after I've dyed the other colors. So it's a grey base with golds, blues and hot pink. And because I'm dyeing it on grey, the colors get really saturated and kind of moody, and I really love this. I think I'm going to have to knit myself a pair of socks in this. And I dyed up some Mowry on Polydale. This colorway has a tendency to show up again and again because it's a really popular colorway, and it's really funny to fun to dye. So this is Mowry on Polydale, I have some silver lining on platinum sock. And I also dyed up I dyed up 2 sweater quantities on natural blue for my last update, and they sold out almost immediately. So I dyed up 2 more sweater quantities on these 2 colorways. It's Plum Jam and Antique Copper. And these are in the shop already because I put them in the shop as soon as they were dry. And no one has grabbed them yet, so they're up for grabs right at this moment because they're in the shop. So these you won't have to wait until Sunday to grab. They're there now. And I have 4 skeins of each color. And that's what's going into the shop on Sunday. And that means I have shown you everything I was going to show you, and the only thing that remains is to talk about the make-along that starts on April 1st and ends on May 17th. And the reason why it's ending on May 17th is because that's Norway's Constitution Day. It's a holiday, and I wanted to do a make-along again because it was so much fun doing the Treat Yourself make-along, so I wanted to do another one. Plus, I have prizes already that I can use for this make-along. And if any makers see this and want to send me stuff I can use for prizes, please do, because I'll keep on doing make-alongs. But again, this make-along that starts on April 1st and ends on May 17th, it's called the Red, White and Blue make-along, because the Norwegian flag is red, white and blue. So I wanted to have something that has to do with May 17th and the Norwegian flag, because we have a lot of flags all over the place on May 17th. And the rules are simple. First of all, whips are allowed. And because it's called the Red, White and Blue make-along, it's got to do with those colors. The thing you make, knit, crochet, weave, whatever, has to have at least 2 of those colors in it. It could be red and blue, red and white, white and blue. At least 2 of the colors must be in your project. If you have all 3 colors in your project, both red, white and blue, you get 2 entries. You could, if it's a Fair Isle sweater with loads of colors and 3 of the colors are red, white and blue, you're eligible. Because red, white and blue don't have to be the only colors in your project. You get 2 entries if you have all 3 colors. And of course you can enter if you have red, 2 of the colors in a project with several colors. I want as many people as possible to be able to join because I have 3 prizes. And I won't be drawing a prize on Instagram this time, I think. If I do, it will be a pattern prize. But it doesn't start until April 1st, so I have some time to think about that. But I might do a pattern prize on Instagram. And of course I have the year-long make-along for my yarn. I'm drawing the first prize on the last day of March because I draw quarterly prizes, and the prize is always a skein of your choice from my Etsy shop. And that's the last day of March. I'm going to draw a prize for that. Then I can actually finish this and get to do something else. I'm planning to edit this first, and when this uploads to YouTube, which takes hours, I can do all the other stuff I have to do today. So I'll probably see you on Instagram, TV. But my next podcast is in 2 weeks, And remember my shop update Sunday at 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time. Until next time, bye bye.